The eggs stay in the water and then they start dividing, and eventually they start to look like small tadpoles within the egg sac. The tadpoles, when they get sufficiently developed, start wriggling and they rupture the egg sac and they go into the water as tadpoles. And the tadpole is a very distinctive tadpole. It's glossy black. No other Australian frog has a glossy black tadpole. And then in the water for about 4 to 5 weeks, it develops, the back legs come out, and then finally the front legs. Then the tail is reabsorbed and they move onto the land as small toads.
Well, they've been here for 50 years or a bit more, and look, there's just millions of them in this river. There's certainly no shortage of cane toads in the area. They have a tremendous success rate. They can lay tadpoles in small puddles, 15% seawater, clear running rivers like this, just about anywhere. Equally interesting is that these tadpoles, if you look at them very carefully, some of them are beginning to get legs, and they do that at a very, very small body size. The native tadpoles have to get much, much larger than these little fellas, and so they have to stay in the water a little bit longer than what a cane toad can. So cane toads get in fast, big numbers, they're out fast, and it aids their colonisation to a tremendous extent.
My first memory of the toad was the unusual noise that I heard in the billabong hole across from the house. And I did inquire from our pest board officer as to what the noise would be, and that was the giant toad. They soon came out on the roads of a night, and it did look as though they would really be a terrible menace, that they would take possession of everything. You'd flatten them out with a car, and the stench from them would be like a school of mullet coming up the river.
When one species of cane beetle's in the cane fields, it just doesn't come in contact with the ground. And we know that cane toads can't fly. And when the other species of cane beetle is in the cane fields, it's there when there is no cover on the ground. And cane toads just aren't in cane fields when there isn't any cover. In short, the lifestyles of the cane beetles and the cane toads just didn't synchronise. It couldn't succeed.
They weren't much use at all as far as the cane beetle was concerned, but they did manage to get rid of a lot of stray dogs. The dogs would be attracted to these moving toads and grab them, and of course the buffalo merino's only protection was his poison sac, and he used to let the dogs have it, and eventually quite a few dogs died.
You know, looking back over the years and so forth, when you look at our imports, what we brought into Australia, this must have been a great country long before white man ever came to the joint. We brought in foxes and hares, and then to cap it all off, we bring this monstrous thing called a toad in.
An Adelaide man has been fined for his bizarre impersonation of 2 Queensland identities. Graham Cairns reports.
Police told the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court that 32-year-old Philip William Elliott was charged after he was found crouching on the side of a road at Birkenhead in Adelaide. Police say Elliott was jumping out onto the road into the path of oncoming cars. When he was questioned, he told them he was Sir Joe Bjorky-Peterson and a cane toad. He's pleaded guilty to the charge of disorderly behaviour and has been fined $50.
The cane toad spread faster and more widely than we'd anticipated in the first instance. and it wasn't long before it got into southern Queensland, and then attracted a lot of attention from people who were not much interested in controlling cane grubs.
Queensland toads, they're everywhere you are. No matter where you roam, you can hear them from afar. They hop and they dance to every romance. Queensland toads, they're everywhere you are. In the cane on the road, there'll always be Queensland toads.
Toad was introduced to about 8 or 9 different cane-growing regions, and since that time they cover about 40% of the area of Queensland, a small portion of northern New South Wales, and they're moving over through the Gulf country and a part of the Northern Territory.
It's difficult to go anywhere in Queensland without coming across references to or idolatry concerned with the cane toad, because they are ubiquitous. They're absolutely everywhere. People are brought up with them, I think. And all the Queenslanders are terribly protective of them, it would seem, that although something as obnoxious as the cane toad you would expect would have been eradicated by now, far from it. They, because they've got them and nobody else has got them, much the same as they've got Joe and nobody else has got him yet, they, I think, regard them with sort of perverted reverence.
Hello.
Yes, John?
Is this a tall toad story?
That's right. I was in Gordon Vale when they first released the cane toad.
Tell me about your recollections of those days.
Well, when they first released them, John...
Yes.
Now, you know what a kerosene tin is like.
Yes.
Dropped straight in, they wouldn't go into a kerosene tin.
They would have eaten a cat.
That's right. They were that massive that if you put them on a big square-mouthed shovel, you couldn't lift them.
Oh.
That is true as I stand here.
You're not pulling my leg.
I am not. I can remember if it was yesterday.
There are still quite a large number of the toads around, but not as big as they used to be.